Afghanistan policy and the debate continues. Defense Secretary Robert M. Gates has rejected assertions that a fractious internal debate had hobbled policy for Afghanistan, expressing full confidence in the strategy and saying that he expected no major shift in direction when the Obama administration completed a review of the war effort in December. I suspect that we will find some areas where we can make some adjustments and tweaks to try and enhance what's going on, Mr. Gates said. I have not gotten the sense from my conversations with people that any basic changes are likely to occur. Mr. Gates and Admiral Mike Mullen, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, defended the contentious administration-wide debate last year that produced a new strategy for Afghanistan approved by President Obama. It called for a substantial buildup of forces to be followed by a withdrawal beginning, theoretically, next July. The pace of the withdrawal is expected to depend on the ability of Afghan forces to start taking over security responsibilities, if at all possible. During a Pentagon news conference, Mr. Gates said he thought the strategy was the right one and, hopefully, could succeed. I wouldn't sign redeployment orders if I didn't believe that, he also added. The release of a new book, Obama's Wars, by Bob Woodward of the Washington Post, has again raised questions about whether the compromises that resulted from the lengthy debate over the policy last year ultimately undermined the counter-insurgency strategy, which required large additional commitments of troops, money, and patience. Mr. Gates also said that after several years in which the war in Afghanistan had not received enough resources, the force supplied by the United States, allies, and the Afghans themselves finally could, would be sufficient. He said it had been important to narrow the focus of the military mission to those key districts that mattered in terms of reversing the momentum of the Taliban, supposedly denying them control of territory where there was population, degrading their capabilities, hopefully at the same time we are enhancing the capabilities of the Afghan security forces, while acknowledging this is a very, very difficult year. Admiral Mullen said, "We've got the inputs right, and we're starting to move forward," whatever that means. Mr. Gates, who has worked for 8 presidents of both parties, also said that presidents are always well served when there is a vigorous and spirited debate over important issues. And Marja, the new Afghan battleground. For U.S. soldiers trying to win over skeptical Afghans, the Taliban's influence looms large. The Marja offensive, or whatever they might want to call it, that began in February of this year and is still going on. It's not the first time that Americans have found themselves in the region. During the 1950s, they helped build Marja up by digging a network of irrigation canals reminiscent of the Tennessee Valley Authority. The area was once fondly called Little America, but in the decades since, the nation has been torn by warfare, decimating the infrastructure and leaving a population desperate for stability. Now, the U.S. military estimates 60% of the inhabitants of Marja support the Taliban. The security bubble provided by Marine patrols extends only to a small section of Marja, and within that artificial bubble, a few shops are slowly reopening, and and tribal elders are engaging with Marines. But that's only along a few of the main roads, where the U.S. military maintains a constant presence. In the surrounding countryside, which has barely passable roads, or none at all, there's little safety whatsoever. And at night, all over Marja, anything goes. So, if they can't even take the town or province of Marja after all these months, then what is there really to win in Afghanistan? And, again, when will they know that they have won? How long shall this war go on? Or how much longer? And what are the real goals? What is the exact purpose? And yes, all these are more signs of the end times transition days, which is a huge continuing day-by-day process. In other words, everything that must change quickly or rapidly. Amos, chapter 8, verse 4. Hear this, O ye that swallow up the needy, even to make the poor of the nation or land to fail. 5. Saying, when will the new moon be gone, that we may sell corn, and the Sabbath, that we may set forth wheat, making the dollar small, and the penny great, and falsifying the balances by deceit. 6. That we may buy the poor for silver or money, and the needy for a pair of shoes. Yes, and sell the refuse of the wheat. 7. The Lord has sworn by the excellency of Jacob, surely I will never forget any of their works. 8. Shall not the land or nation tremble for this, and every one mourn that dwells therein? And it shall rise up wholly as a flood, and it shall be cast out and drowned, as by the flood of ancient Egypt. 9. And it shall come to pass in that day, saith the Lord God Almighty, that I will cause the sun to go down at noon, and I will darken the earth in the clear day. 10. And I will turn your feasts and holidays into mourning, and all your songs into lamentation. And I will bring up sackcloth upon all loins, and baldness upon every head. And I will make it as the mourning of an only son, and the end thereof as a bitter day. 11. Behold, the days come, saith the Lord God, that I will send a famine in the land or the nation, not a famine of bread or food, nor a thirst for water, but of hearing the words of the Lord God Almighty. 12. And they shall wander from sea to sea, and from the north even to the east. They shall run to and fro to seek the word of the Lord, and shall not find it. And yes, there are many different kinds of signs happening. It's time